Hello everyone, this is Paul from Super Deluxe Edition, and we've got a mega Record Store Day 2019 preview. I'm going to take you through some of the best releases that you'll see on Saturday at your local independent record shop, hopefully. I have to say thank you to all the labels that have sent copies of products for this preview. We're going to go through, and so to give this some kind of structure, I've decided to do it in order of release. So we're going to start in the late 60s and go all the way through to current day, and seemed to be a logical way of doing it rather than do it by artist or by label. So without further ado, let's kick off with Sly and the Family Stone. Now this is a Woodstock release. It's the first time the complete performance has been available on vinyl. Sony are putting this out, and it's a double black vinyl pressing, and the audio is actually pressed on three sides of the vinyl, with the fourth side is reserved for an etching. You can see that there. Come and see my etching. Sly and the Family Stone, that looks pretty cool actually. Sony do have this habit of not putting records in polyline sleeves, which is a little bit annoying, but there you are, double black vinyl, 1969 of course, Sly and the Family Stone. There's another Woodstock next. There's another Woodstock next, which is Janis Joplin, and it's fairly much the same treatment here. Double black vinyl. There's no etching on this one, it's actually four sides of music. So you get this little insert which gives you a bit of blurb, and it's the same kind of look and feel, two black vinyl records. Live at Woodstock. So Woodstock was August 1969, so these are 50th anniversary releases, I guess. Right, I'm going to crack on fairly quickly with some of these because there's a lot to get through, but for the next release we've got Elvis. Now this one's quite interesting. Elvis live at the International Hotel in Las Vegas. Now Elvis obviously loved Vegas, he played there a lot. This is a 2 LP set. It actually makes a reference to a forthcoming box set here, so that's the label there. So it says, from the upcoming box set covering all of the August 1969 live recordings. So these are all previously unreleased. There's obviously some CD box set or vinyl box set coming. I should say that this is on black vinyl as well. Sony don't seem to be going for any coloured vinyl. So that's Mr. Elvis Presley, Record Store Day. Moving into the 70s, this is 10 years after Chrysalis are putting this out. This is a coloured vinyl pressing of some unheard sessions from 1972. This would have been recorded just before the Rock and Roll Music to the World album, which was 72. Blues rock, engineered by Chris Kimsey, who produced Rolling Stones and produced Duran Duran's Liberty album later on. He's actually gone back and mixed these sessions. Some of the songs ended up on the album, some of them didn't. So this is nice, polyline sleeve, and quite attractive sort of turquoise. It looks a bit green in the camera, but it's a bit turquoisey blue. That's 10 years after. Now then, Mr. Bowie. It wouldn't be Record Store Day without David Bowie. And this is his 1973 album, Pinups of course, picture disc. Looks very good. Nice, I like the picture on the flip side as well, very nice. And there's an insert in here at the back. So I think this will be high in demand. They did a picture disc a couple of years ago, didn't they, of The Man Who Sold the World. So this will go quite nicely with that. Now then, this is going to be in demand, I think. This is the Bob Dylan Blood on the Tracks test pressing. It's basically a facsimile recreation, call it what you will, of the original test pressing. And it says on the sticker here, features unique mixes available for the first time ever. I think that's because there was wasn't there some mistake with the box set where it wasn't actually the correct mixes? I don't know, something like that. So these are the correct mixes, hopefully, and this is on black vinyl, appropriately labelled up. That's Mr. Bob Dylan. Rhino have done this, I think, with every Fleetwood Mac reissue so far, and there's no change this year. I really like these. They take the alternate version which appeared on CD in the box set, and they put it on vinyl for Record Store Day. So they've done that with Rumours, they've done it with Tanker in the Night, they've done it with Mirage, they did it with Tusk, and now they're doing it with the Fleetwood Mac album. So it's got it all listed here on the front, actually, you can see that. It's basically the album, but everything's a different version or an early take. Polyline sleeve, black vinyl, no messing around. Fantastic record. I'm looking forward to listening to that one. In fact, it's got nice little attention to detail here, actually. You can see the penguins on the inside, so that's nice. Fleetwood Mac. Now then, Billy Joel, live at Carnegie Hall 1977, double album, gatefold. It's the first time this has been on vinyl. This dates from 1977, as you might know. Recorded about a month before the Stranger sessions, and this audio has been mixed from the multi-tracks, etc. This is a double black vinyl. I won't bother showing you the other records, but it's 2 vinyl records, black vinyl. Now the Generation X reissue is out in a couple of weeks, actually. I think it's out on the 26th of April. So this is a bit of a precursor to that Your Generation, the Win Stanley mix on 7-inch. And it's backed up with Trying for Kicks, which is another with Win Stanley mix. And I believe these are unique to this 7-inch. They're not actually on the reissue. Red vinyl there, you can see. So that's quite a nice item. Hopefully not too expensive. I know some of the 7-inches are outrageous on the Record Store Day. Hopefully you get that for under a tenner. So we're into the 80s. You may have noticed that was the late 60s and the 70s. So we're into the 80s. Lots of 80s stuff to enjoy here. Dexys Midnight Runners at the BBC 1982. Double coloured vinyl. Record Store Day special. Universal are putting this out. It's a very nice package, actually. They've gone for polyline sleeves, which is what you want. But I really like the green vinyl. This is pressed on that. It's very nice. Excellent. So there's 2 records here. What it is, it's mainly live at concert from Newcastle in June '82. But there's some David Jensen BBC sessions at the end of side D. That's Dexys. Yesterday on SDE, you may have noticed news of a new Blancmange album, The Blank Tapes. It's a 6 LP box set. London Records have got the Blancmange catalogue now, so they're putting out Living on the Ceiling as a special Record Store Day, 12-inch. This is pressed on blue vinyl. There's no inner sleeve, it's just 12-inch, I guess. And there's a couple of mixes. You get Living on the Ceiling, you get the original extended mix, and you get a couple of modern remixes. So that's Blancmange. Also, actually, from London Records is this Bananarama, another remix, 12-inch. And this is pressed on blue vinyl, I believe. This actually does come with an inner sleeve. It's quite a similar blue. There you go, blue vinyl. Right then, the 80s. Well, I suppose we're already into the 80s. Now this was very, very high on my wants list. Duran Duran, As the Lights Go Down. This is the kind of alternate version of Arena, if you like. This is a bit more live and less sort of overdubbed, I think. 1984. Live at the Oakland Coliseum. I think there's some confusion over it. It wasn't really the Coliseum, was it? Or it was I think the PR companies are kind of getting confused with what venue they played at. Beautiful design. I mean, I've always liked the kind of arena style graphics. Very, very nice. It's very high gloss. This has a kind of embossed finish to it here. Beautiful gatefold. colour photos. And you've got two printed inner sleeves here. So one of the records is pressed on pink vinyl, which is this one, and the other record is pressed on light blue. I've been listening to this quite a lot on Spotify because it has been available on Spotify. And I think it's absolutely superb, this concert. I think it's Duran Duran at their absolute peak, you know, there's no doubt about it. And brings back a lot of memories, I'll be honest with you. 1984, I was 14, turning 15, watching the documentary that was on the BBC. Duran Duran were the biggest band in the world at that point, I think. So this is a fantastic release from Rhino, Warner's. In fact, their selection is particularly good, as we'll see in a minute. But before that, here's Bronski Beat, London Records, Small Town Boy. Now, of course, SDE did a special edition with a CD single of this, which came with the Age of Consent reissue, which I was delighted to be a part of. This is a beautiful picture disc. It's got the 7-inch version of Small Town Boy, it's got the 12-inch version of Small Town Boy, and it's got a new remix of Small Town Boy, which I think was on the 2 CD reissue, and it's got another modern remix of Why. Not really a big fan of modern remixes, but it's a classic single and looks good, so nice in the collection. Now, Warners have applied to Aha what they've been doing with Fleetwood Mac, so Hunting High and Low. This is from the 2015 30th anniversary Super Deluxe edition. There was a disc of alternate and early mixes, so they've created a vinyl record out of it. It looks fantastic. For some reason I never noticed that dog before. Limited edition of 6,000 it says, which suggests that this should be relatively easy to get hold of, but who knows. Nice printed inner. This is just black vinyl, which looks good. Now then, another excellent release from Warner's is this Prince double album, His Majesty's Pop Life, the Purple Mix Club. So this is a Japanese promo only release that came out back in the day, and it's highly desirable. So I mean, it's amazing they've done this and put this out officially, albeit you have to try and get it on Record Store Day. But it's got a great selection of remixes, this, from Around the World in a Day album. So Pop Life, the fresh dance mix, Raspberry Beret, the new mix, Paisley Park remix. Then there's some older songs like Let's Go Crazy, Special Dance Mix, Little Red Corvette Dance Mix, 1999, the long album version, which is probably the best version anyway. I Would Die For You extended version, and then the really good long version of Erotic City and When Doves Cry, the album version. So I mean, it's absolute, you know, Prince at his peak. So this really is a must buy, I think, if you're a fan of Prince. And I like the sleeves. They've done a nice thing here. They've recreated the Japanese rice paper inners, which is kind of what you want. And these, I've just noticed, these play at 45 RPM. So there's the other one. There is an insert. You do get an insert as well. So this is an insert. I imagine, I don't know if this is some recreation of the original, it probably is. So actually this disc, interestingly, plays at 33 RPM, and the other one plays at 45, which is slightly weird, but that's probably how it was originally. Yes, that one you can see is 45. Okay, Propaganda. So this is from BMG, who took over Union Square quite a few years ago now. So this is very much in the style of the Frankie release from last year, the first 48 inches, so it's 4 12-inch singles. And there's an Art of Noise equivalent of this, which I don't have, and there's an 808 State equivalent, which I don't have either. I'm pleased to say it's the same idea. They've got a sticker here that is resealable, so I'll gently open that sticker. And beautiful artwork on these, actually. On the sticker it does say that some of these tracks, 7 or 8 of them, have never been released before on vinyl. I'll be honest with you, I've given up trying to keep track of what version has and hasn't been issued. They're always changing the names of the tracks, and It's a bit of a mug's game, to be honest with you, trying to keep up, but this first single here concentrates on a dream within a dream, sort of variations on that. The second one here is basically dual versions of Jewel. These are all on black vinyl, by the way, just to show you. I mean, the design is top notch as usual. This will be Philip Marshall that's done this. This one here is Frozen Faces and various versions. And finally, this one here is versions of Dr. Mabusa. Here's the sticker, which I couldn't find, but it's 17 actually, there you go. 17 tracks previously unreleased on vinyl. I'm pleased to say the card feels a bit thicker than the Frankie one, which was a bit on the thin side. It might be my imagination, but it feels a bit sturdier. So that's Propaganda. So still in the mid 80s now, so this is 86. In 2006, Sony reissued the Steve McQueen album, Prefab Sprout, of course. And they didn't add a load of B-sides and remixes because I don't think Paddy McAloon wanted that. Instead, he proffered an acoustic version of the album, which was the second disc at the time. So what Sony have done is they've put that album out for Record Store Day as a special vinyl edition. It's a beautiful front cover, and it's got a printed inner sleeve with a bit of a Q&A about the album. And this is on black vinyl. So this is a really nice release actually, no gimmicks. And even though I think fans were a bit peeved when this first came out because the reissue, it didn't really have the traditional bonus content. I think everyone grudgingly agreed that this acoustic album was really very good. So it's nice to see that coming out. Now, Warner's continue with some great Japanese replica Madonna reissues. They've been doing it for the last few years. This is La Bonita Super Mix, and a bit similar to the sort of Prince one in a way, but it's just a collection of remixes and sort of bits and bobs from various singles at the time. So you get the extended remix of La Bonita. You get the extended version of Open Your Heart, which I seem to remember is about 8 or 9 minutes long. This is quite good because you get Gambler, the non-album soundtrack single, Crazy For You, and then the instrumental of La Bonita. So it's a really good collection. And it comes with a Japanese insert, and it's pressed on very, very nice green vinyl. Look at that translucent green. So this is obviously a must-have if you're a Madonna fan. And there's two from Warner, so this is the True Blue version. True Blue Super Club Mix is called. Let me just tell you what's on it actually. So you get the 12-inch of True Blue, which is the colour mix. You get the dub mix of Everybody. You get the extended remix of Papa Don't Preach, the extended version of Everybody, and the instrumental of Live to Tell. I love these EPs because they kind of span eras and give you interesting things. That's on blue vinyl. So to me, that's a great little collection of, you know, throwing in an instrumental, putting in some early stuff. To me, this is a must-have if you're a Madonna fan. Now, you might have noticed Manson have been putting out some reissues. The 6th album was the last one. In fact, we're selling that on the Super Deluxe Edition shop if you fancy it. But the Legacy EP has been reissued for Record Store Day. It's red vinyl. And you get a lot of tracks on this actually. You get the extended version of Legacy, and then you get a whole series of bonus tracks, and you do get the Wide Open Space Perfecto remix, which was on an exclusive SDE CD single. If you buy the reissue of the first album, you get a special CD single. But anyway, plug for SDE shop over. So just to show you how this is presented, so you get a kind of like a card insert like that. That's the red vinyl. Some of you probably bought the coloured vinyl version of 6. This goes quite nicely with that. We're into the 90s now, you may have noticed. We've skipped most of the 90s, but this is 1998. More 90s here, from 1999. This is Suede's 4th album, Head Music. This is the one where the band started to fall apart a bit, as seen on the recent documentary. I imagine a black vinyl version and a CD version of this will be on the way from Demon. But this is an expanded 3 LP edition, so it's the album over 2 records and then it's some bonus B-sides on the 3rd. And it's coloured vinyl this is, so the colours kind of match the front cover. So that's white and purple and green. So I think in the documentary they kind of said Head Music was half a good album, which is probably true. So it's not a gatefold, it's just got a wide spine. That's Suede, Head Music. This is a bit of a quirky one. Universal are putting out the soundtrack to Office Space on vinyl for the first time, and this is on red vinyl. If you haven't seen Office Space, I'd recommend it. It's a very funny comedy from the late 90s. And this is pressed on red vinyl. Now the Mighty Boosh, you might have seen online, the Mighty Boosh are kind of representatives of Record Store Day. They're flying the flag for Record Store Day, and they're putting out, Demon are putting out their own Record Store Day product, which is the radio series, the complete Boosh radio series actually. This is a 3 LP set, really nicely designed as you might imagine. So it's 3 records, and I can't remember whether this is coloured vinyl or, yeah, so there's green vinyl, white vinyl and yellow vinyl. So these are all heavyweight, 180 gram pressings. There's some quite good blurb inside from the Boosh themselves. So that's the Mighty Boosh. So this is from U2, Universal are putting this out. This is called the Europa EP. Some remixes and a semi-live version of Love Is All We Have Left. It's taken from the recent concert. So I went to see U2 at the O2 Arena. It was pretty spectacular, and this is kind of taken from that. You get some stickers, and I think this is pressed on coloured vinyl. Oh no, it's not. So this is just black vinyl. You do get an insert with it as well, actually. So that's quite a good shot of what the gig looked like. There was these enormous screens with Charlie Chaplin from The Great Dictator. And Toya, I interviewed Toya recently. I think that's going to be published very, very soon. Now the new album comes out today, which is Friday the 12th. This is the Record Store Day version of the album, because the album's coming out on 2 CD, but the vinyl version is exclusive to Record Store Day for the time being, because it's a purple vinyl edition. I really like this record, and I'm not just saying that because I spoke to Toya. It's a great album. This is actually this is more in line with the original album when it came out about 10 years ago, but it does have a new track called Dance in the Hurricane, which is brilliant. It's the best thing she's done in a long time. Of course, the album is called In the Court of the Crimson Queen. I should mention that. It's got new artwork and everything. This is a Morrissey single on clear red vinyl called Lover to Be. This is taken from the deluxe edition of the last album, I believe, and it's got a new track called I Thought You Were Dead on it. Now this is a new thing that's come out. This is a Peter Gabriel album, which is pretty unusual in itself. It's a collection of songs from movies, some of which have never been out before, one of which is new. It's all been put together on this album called Rated PG. Now they've very much gone for the kitsch approach design wise on this. So as you can see, you've got popcorn here. The picture disc, it's a vinyl picture disc, and it's got the sort of film can, and obviously the PG is the play on parental guidance. And even on the back here, I mean, it's slightly freaky, that picture, but there you go. So there's some interesting stuff on here. There's the film soundtrack version of In Your Eyes, which hasn't been released before. There's a new track called Every Bird. There's various other things. Taboo from Natural Born Killers, Down to Earth from Wally, etc, etc. So just to show you what the picture disc is like. So that's the picture disc there, and on the other side, loads of popcorn. So I think in acknowledgement that, you know, picture discs don't give you the best audio reproduction, this does come with a download code. So a couple of more things to finish off here, and there's Def Leppard Volume 2 Best Of. It's coming out on Universal, double vinyl. It's a Record Store Day exclusive. Keeping with the comedy theme, Demon put out that enormous League of Gentlemen box set, absolutely amazing set to be honest. But this is the live show from last year. It's all done with the same guy that's did the design. And this is actually a pop-up, so if you have a look here, that's quite nice. And I think this is double vinyl, recorded at the Hammersmith Apollo, and it's appropriately scary, weird coloured vinyl pressing. There's the second record there. And obviously it's all been vinyl records so far. I just wanted to finish off with the one cassette release that I have, which is this Prince Versace Experience. For those of you who don't know the background for this, in 1995 Prince was mates with Gianni Versace, and for a catwalk show, for a fashion show, Prince put together a special tape of music that he was working on at the time, which would be the Gold Experience, which turned into the Gold Experience album. I think that's the right timeline. So this tape has unique mixes, unique versions of things that ended up on the Gold Experience, things that didn't, and Prince put it together personally for the show, and I think everyone at the show got a copy of this cassette, and it's never been released officially. The audio's never come out anywhere else. In fact, this cassette sold, an original tape sold for $4,000 on Discogs, which is apparently makes it the most expensive cassette in the world. Can you believe it? It'd be interesting to see what happens with this. I don't think there's a download code with it. I haven't opened this yet, but it surely will be in high demand just for its kind of rarity value, I think. Again, Sony are putting this out because they're doing a lot of Prince stuff at the moment. So I'm going to say thank you very much for joining me. Have a great time tomorrow for Record Store Day. Enjoy your time queuing and chatting to fellow music fans. I'll be out there as well. So this has been Paul from Super Deluxe Edition, taking an early look at some of the Record Store Day releases for 2019.